you stupid fool. Did you really think you gonna hit me? Huh? Bam, bam, bam! Over.
Hey, this victory made everything. I told y'all what I was gonna do. I said I'm gonna beat Valdez, Canelo, and Eddie Reynoso. That was my game plan. Beat the whole team, and I feel good about it. Much respect to them, no disrespect to them, but that was my game plan.
Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? So as you just seen right there, Canelo Alvarez, he was sitting ringside watching his countryman and teammate Oscar Valdez lose to Shakur Stevenson. When I seen Canelo Alvarez's reaction just watching the fight, the first thing that stood out was the fact that Canelo Alvarez, he normally yells out instructions to his fighters or his teammates when he's watching ringside. But when it came to this fight, Canelo Alvarez, he was like, hey man, I don't know what to tell you. You're on your own when it comes to this one, buddy. Canelo Alvarez had no answers for Oscar Valdez. He was like, don't ask me how to beat him. I'm just as clueless as you are. So Canelo Alvarez and Oscar Valdez were far from the dynamic duel that Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Tank Davis were. We would see Floyd Mayweather ringside at Gervonta Tank Davis fights, yelling out more instructions than even Tank Davis's own trainer is giving him. And what's so ironic about that situation is while Canelo Alvarez was once again supporting Oscar Valdez and had no answers, could not help him, meanwhile, pound for pound, the best fighter in the world was also in attendance, and he was there to support the American Shakur Stevenson and didn't even need to help Shakur. But let's go ahead and ask the rhetorical question. If you were Oscar Valdez and you needed help on how to beat Shakur Stevenson or even how to fight him, would you prefer help from Canelo Alvarez or Terrence Crawford? The question alone just shows you how there are levels to this, and Canelo is not on a Terrence Crawford or even a Shakur Stevenson level. But hey, at least Canelo Alvarez, he can say he's pound for pound the most popular, especially amongst Mexican fans. So with everything that took place in the ring this past weekend, Shakur Stevenson definitely did what he set out to do, because once again, he was asked leading up to this fight by reporters, what's your thoughts on Oscar Valdez training with Canelo Alvarez? And this is what Shakur Stevenson said.
I mean, I'm gonna say this, and people gonna hate me for saying this. I don't care, because I'm bold. Like, I take risks. I'm a risk taker. I say what's on my mind. I feel like if Canelo is my way, I feel like I would beat Canelo. I feel like my style, distance, I'm a boxer. Same way Floyd picked him apart, I would do the same. So that's my honest opinion. People could take it how they want to. So Canelo could tell him whatever you want.
You know, before I made this video, I was scrolling through some of the comments on my last video on Shakur Stevenson saying he beat Canelo Alvarez, Eddie Reynoso, and Oscar Valdez in the same night, and it feels good. Well, it turns out, to nobody's surprise, that when Shakur Stevenson said this, he really pissed off the Canelo Alvarez fans. I'm seeing people in the comment section saying he didn't beat Canelo. How dare you even say you would beat Canelo? Canelo would beat you so easy, etc., etc., etc. If only Canelo Alvarez was talking with this same level of confidence that internet fans talk with, Canelo would be pound for pound the best fighter in the world, because he would be going after all of these Shakur Stevensons and Jamal Charlos and Andrades, just because he would beat them so easy and he would want to show the world the level he's on compared to them. After all, this is the reason why Shakur Stevenson was chasing the Oscar Valdez fight for so long, to show the world how easy he could beat him. Because that's exactly what you do when you believe you're the best fighter in the world. It means absolutely nothing if we're telling you that Shakur Stevenson beats this guy and he beats that guy, but Shakur doesn't have the confidence to even get in the ring with those guys. But at the end of the day, debating on if Shakur beating Valdez is considered beating Canelo Alvarez or not, none of that really matters. When I made my video talking about this, what Shakur Stevenson said to Canelo Alvarez's team, I didn't focus too much on Shakur saying that he beat Canelo in the same night. That just happens to be the comment that got the most attention, and that's the reason why Shakur said it in front of a pro-Mexican crowd. It was also somewhat of retribution for Shakur Stevenson because of the Mexican fans booing him at the fight. Matter of fact, Shakur Stevenson, he even said at the press conference that once he heard the fans booing him, he wanted to really silence them. But going back to the statement Shakur made that really stood out the most, saying that he would beat Canelo, I didn't focus on him saying that in the video. I focused on the point that if Shakur Stevenson and Canelo were naturally in the same weight class, Canelo Alvarez would not have the courage to do what Oscar Valdez did and take this fight. Because if Canelo won't fight Demetrius Andrade or hasn't fought Demetrius Andrade and Charlo in 6 years, there's no way he would have took the Shakur Stevenson fight unless Shakur Stevenson was being outweighed by 15 to 20 pounds, like Floyd Mayweather was when he fought Canelo after moving up 5 weight classes. It is a fact that Canelo's own trainer admitted that, and I'm quoting, Black American boxers have the most difficult style in the sport of boxing, and whenever you're fighting against a black boxer, it's going to be a complicated fight. Listen, it's one thing to say Mexican fighters or Argentine fighters are tough, but it's an entirely different thing to say not only are these fighters difficult, but they are the most difficult. What he's saying is whenever you fight against a black fighter, especially an undefeated champion like Demetrius Andrade or Jamal Charlo, you are putting the video game's difficulty level on hard as opposed to easy. The reason why it's really important to say that and make that point, because here Shakur Stevenson is saying that he would beat Canelo Alvarez if they were naturally the same way in the same weight class. And then once again, Canelo's trainer, he admits that that would be a very difficult fight to win for his own fighter. But by way of contrast, if Shakur and Canelo were in the same weight class naturally, Shakur would beat Canelo Alvarez easy. Sure, Canelo would always have a puncher's chance, but everyone knows Canelo Alvarez, he's slow on his feet and either loses or struggles really badly when he's in the ring with any type of boxers. When you look at Canelo Alvarez's face expression and all the expressions he showed when he was watching this fight, watching his countryman and his teammate Oscar Valdez lose to yet another Black American undefeated athletic slick boxer, and Canelo sitting there thinking to himself, I don't even have the answers on what Oscar Valdez can do to beat this guy. That's gotta be extremely frustrating for Canelo Alvarez. Knowing that you've already experienced this, you've already been down this road where you had to fight a slick American black boxer, and you were fighting against one that was old and way smaller than you, against Floyd Mayweather, and still managed to lose every single round in the fight. I mean, wouldn't you think that when a man has an entire country on his shoulders and you get completely dominated by Team USA, wouldn't you think that Canelo Alvarez would try to make up for that? He would try to avenge that loss by going after all of the best undefeated American black boxers, especially when they're champions in your own division at 154 and 160 and calling you out for years and years and years? You would think that Canelo would want to do this, right? But Canelo, he understands the pressure that is on him when it comes to losing against a second Black American boxer. So Canelo, he decides, I'm just not going to fight him at all. It's too dangerous. Now, this is not saying that Canelo will never fight another undefeated black boxer, because pressure does bust pipes. That's how we got the Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez fight. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man ScalpCarolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called ScalpCarolinas Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to ScalpCarolinas.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.